Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story at 7, with Barbados set to host one of the biggest cultural spectacles in its history, an uninvited visitor briefly threatened to spoil the party as he barged his way across our landscape, lighting up the skyline in the wee hours of this morning. That visitor, Tropical Storm Harvey, spitting lightning and roaring thunderstorms, also damaged roofs and dumped several inches of water across the island, resulting in flooding in some areas, mainly in the north. Well, tonight we have a series of reports covering Harvey's impact on Barbados, beginning with Lisa Lord.
Well, the rains have come and gone, but not before leaving a trail of damage here in round the town St. Peter. For one family in particular, it could have been a lot worse. It was around minutes to 5 this morning that a neighbor alerted Ricardo Cox that something was terribly wrong. His first instinct was to make sure that his 2 children and his girlfriend Melanie were safe, but that was far from easy.
So what I have to do now is take a walk and tell you up on the next door neighbor house, lap it around she waist, the horse she hang. So I partly see her she life because the house started to sink with she inside. And then water just keep on going. I lost a lot of animals, rabbits and dogs and things.
He lost a total of 36 rabbits and 2 dogs. His girlfriend Melanie recounted what she described as one of the worst days of her life.
When he took Rimmel out first, the water was kind of like pushing him away. And I was telling myself, look, the 2 of them was going to drown. But then he get all of himself and then he get Rimmel next door to the neighbor. And my daughter was like, Mommy, I don't want to go. But then while standing up by the door, all I heard was crook, crook. And then she said, Mommy, oh God, Daddy. And then she ushed out for he. Then he came across for her. Then I was left alone. They was trying to get me out because they was wanted a rope that long enough from the neighbor over to where I was. And fast as they're looking for the rope, the water keep rising.
Right next door, a neighbor who preferred to speak off camera says the flooding has become worse. The home she shares with her daughter was filled with mud. She says it's about time the residents are relocated.
This is a lot of work to do now, a lot. And this has been happening for years, for eons. And nothing has been done about it. I think at one point we were supposed to be relocated, but I don't know what happened.
Just across the road, this resident, Mr. Singh, also suffered significant damage from the flooding.
Up to my bed float out with water and plenty of my new clothes and things like get messed up and all over the place. All in the house you can see what's going on. And the door mash up by water, break the door. I can't come out this morning because the water is so forced I can't open the door to go out.
And we're now in Mullins here in St. Peter. Traversing this road should be interesting as Mother Nature really showed her strength and this road did not stand up to the test. And it was while there that we were alerted about the situation in Gills Terrace, Speightstown. The line here on this property shows you how high the water was when the rains came this morning. For residents here of Gills Terrace in Speightstown, it's a perennial problem that they've been struggling with over the years. Anne Merle moved out of the district a few years ago. She says she was tired of the constant flooding every time there was just above average rainfall. And today's events came as no surprise.
Naturally, I came to check on who was my next door neighbor years ago. You know, I just checked to see how the rest are doing in the area because I know that it is prone to flooding. And from the time I saw the rain last night, the constant rain, I knew that we would have some problems in Speightstown because the area basically has not changed. Over the years, I don't think that they've dropped some wells and stuff like that, but that don't seem to alleviate the problem. So I knew basically that this would happen, you know, and it has happened.
Well, resident Eversley Wharton didn't mince his words.
This year has been going on from 1984. So now nobody ain't doing that. It's just a simple thing that we fix, and none of the governments ain't doing nothing. They won't help nobody out here. None of these houses in the insurance or nothing. So because the nonsense ain't been going on because of that bridge out there. It has 3 tunnels, and when it chokes, so everything backs up and everything just have problems out here.
So what kind of damage you suffered?
Go inside and look. That's all I can tell you. Everything. We don't live normal boat around here.
That damage was clear to see. But it's damage that could be avoided, according to WIM resident Selwyn Collins. According to him, today was almost identical to the floods more than 30 years ago. And the solution is not that difficult.
Make the exit to the sea clear, rather than just talk about clear the gullies, because if that exit was clear, all this rubber would have gone straight to the sea. But seeing that the exit blocked, it backed up and spread either side of Spikestone.
So lots of cleaning up here for several residents in St. Peter who have been seriously impacted by the passage of Tropical Storm Harvey. I'm Lisa Lord reporting for CBC News.
Lisa, thank you very much. Well, they say God is a Bajan, but it didn't seem that way after one of the oldest churches was damaged by strong winds today. The Providence Methodist Church and several surrounding homes in that Christchurch area fell victim to the ravages of Tropical Storm Harvey. Kent Jerson visited the area this morning and filed this report.
For much of the passage of Tropical Storm Harvey, there was lots of rain, so flooding was the major concern. But here in Ballsland, Christchurch, the wind turned out to be the major force, devastating several family homes and even a church building. Debris scattered across the neighborhood told only part of the story. Several homes were badly damaged, many of them losing their roofs. But it was only after speaking with residents that the full scope of the traumatic event became clear. One of the affected residents was a woman who identified herself as Miss Aline. She didn't want to go on camera, but was still willing to describe her ordeal.
I was inside and the lightning was flashing, so I realized that my light wasn't turned off, and I jump up to go and turn off the light. When I jump up, I hear this big commotion. I said, Lord have mercy, the house fall down now. So when we look outside, children come and shout for me and tell me open the door. When I open, them come in, I said, Dave, what happened? He said he galvanized, blew off the house. So we then stopped there for a little bit till then the current went off. Then we stopped there a little bit. And when I hear it shout, when we look outside, all the galvanizing thing was off the church. The house there, the galvanizing was off and everything. It's a mess up to know. I shut my eyes since 2 o'clock this morning. We was up. Could not go back to sleep. And only somebody that get the hit is we. So we say it was like a small tornado or something that ripped everything off. And
the auditorium of the Providence Methodist Church was hardest hit. More than half of its roof was torn off, with some pieces thrown 300 to 400 meters away. This piece of galvanized from the auditorium, for example, flew over 4 or 5 houses before being deposited in a nearby gap. Church member Clarkson Prescott was one of the people on the scene very early. He said the damage will be a big blow to the church and its congregation.
We used to have concerts and activities from the church in this auditorium here, and this is going to be sorely missed as a result of this collapse of the auditorium. The cost, we'll have to check with the insurance to see what the replacement cost is going to be, but it's obviously going to be astronomical as far as the replacement is concerned.
Many of the residents had similar concerns regarding the damage to their properties, but even as we were leaving, they were already picking up the pieces, starting the repairs to rebuild their lives. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
And we hear from Rianne Phillips that it's not the Providence Methodist Church's first brush with the elements. It's the second time a portion of the 185-year-old property has been damaged as a weather system moved across the island.
Former church steward Beverton Kinch says the result was quite similar when Hurricane Janet passed over the island in 1955. In that instance, he recalled that the church and the old manse were left roofless. Unlike Janet, which killed 35 people, today's tropical storm did not result in any fatalities. However, Both of the systems have caused significant damage to houses in different areas of the country. Northern parishes felt some of the stronger effects of the day's system, while in 1955, mainly the southern parishes of St. Michael, St. Philip and Christchurch were severely affected. While it is still early days, it is certain that Tropical Storm Harvey will not be forgotten by some Barbadians. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Meantime, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite said while the all clear was given, authorities were also aware that all employees would not be in position to report for work at a prompt 12 noon start. That's when business officially resumed in the public and private sectors. He said authorities therefore took a number of factors into consideration, including the staggered return to service of the Transport Board fleet from midday, as well as the water and wind damage to some homes. He made the comment in response to questions from journalists about the use of a time for the resumption of business instead of the traditional all clear.
It's really not a term of art. There's no difference between us saying that we're going to advise the country that we can have a 12 o'clock resumption in business, and if I say that we can issue an all clear for people to resume business at 12 o'clock. Similarly, gas stations, we've said that we're going to give a 12 o'clock resumption of business. It means that at 12 o'clock you can reopen your business. If it is that you know where your staff lives and you want to make sure that at 12 o'clock that you're the first person to open, then you go and you get your staff. Because the reality is that the Transport Board is not going to be up and running until after midday. And the staff have to find some way to find themselves to work. It's a bit of common sense in cooperation.
Mr. Brathwaite said if the term all clear was being used to mean that employees would automatically be able to leave home and be in place by a specified resumption time, it would not take into consideration the fact that buses assigned to different routes would be resuming service at different times.
I give the illustration of an employee living in Bayfield, St. Philip, where the first bus may not reach Bayfield until 1 o'clock. Unless you expect the employee to walk from Bayfield down to Bridgetown, realistically he or she may not reach work until 1:30, 1:45, etc. That's the reality of where people live in different geographic space.
Mr. Brathwaite said he was also pleased by yesterday's response from business owners and the general public alike.
I was asked whether or not I was satisfied with the level of cooperation given one or two snags that we had in the last event last year, and the answer is yes. The answer is that in speaking to certain business owners, even yesterday afternoon on my way home, and I got a good sense of cooperation across. There were one or two who actually called me directly who wanted to open a bit later and gave me the assurance that they will ensure that all of their staff members are taken home safely. In one case, the chap said, well, you know, he will not go past 9 o'clock because he recognized that the staff may also want to go home and prepare. So I think generally that we have to say, I'll give the business community and Barbadians as a whole an A for the cooperation.
And what started as a gloomy day in Bridgetown turned into a bustling business time for some when the all clear was given. From midday today, business owners and shoppers headed to the city to make up for lost time. Denise Blackman reports.
Around 11 o'clock, town looked pretty empty with just a few businesses open. This man said he left home as soon as the all clear was given and hoped for a profitable day. So did this vendor, whose only complaint was the pileup of garbage in the city.
It surprised me that Swansea is still nasty. At least they should have sent out the people them to clean up the place, because they know that business is going to return by 12 o'clock and so, and nothing in clean up as yet. So how people going to really do the business?
The River Road terminal leading up to midday was also quite bare, except for this one Zeta van and a small group of people presumably heading to work. Over on Broad Street, a few people were patiently waiting to do business.
I have to go and see CS Pharmacy as well, so I say I would come and see when here is opening, then go and see CS Pharmacy and get to work for 12.
She was part of a group already waiting at Cave Shepherd until security informed them doors were to open at 2 instead of 12. Among them were some British travelers who the storm caught by surprise. They said the airport closure inconvenienced them somewhat.
Because the Bureau de Change inside the airport shuts pretty early, and obviously because of the situation they were really keen to shut. By the time you've got your luggage off the carousel, you couldn't change any money. I thought, oh, that'll be fine, we'll find somewhere. No.
But it was a prompt opening for many along Swan Street, and staff at Cheris seemed prepared for a busy day. This shopper said she was glad for the all clear so she could buy items to make pudding and sauce tomorrow. And by the time we left Bridgetown around 1, the city seemed closer to what you would expect of a busy Friday. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
Well, the Attorney General has blamed the flooding which occurred in many parts of the island on people who continue to dump garbage indiscriminately. He made the comment as he toured one of the hardest hit parts of St. Peter. Sharika Griffith tells us more.
As the water subsided, several out-of-place items like these mattresses lay strewn across the road in Roundytown, St. Peter. On days like today when there's excessive rain, such items obstruct the water course, leading to the flooding which residents of this community are now trying to recover from. Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs Adriel Brathwaite wants this dumping to stop.
This is not a new thing, and I cannot help but beg residents, not residents of here, but Barbadians as a whole, rather than throw garbage into every canal that you can find, think in terms of the risk to life that that can occur as a result of your indiscriminate dumping.
However, the Attorney General does not believe higher penalties will dissuade guilty parties.
It's not a question of harsher penalties. I think we really need to just capture a few people and charge them. And convict them. I think that's what's needed first and foremost, because the guy isn't afraid of the penalties unless he sees a few people who've been caught. When's the last time you saw someone in page 3 of one of our newspapers being charged for littering? I've not seen it recently.
Mr. Brathwaite was speaking as he visited the homes of several of the residents affected by the raging waters as a result of Tropical Storm Harvey. He was joined by Housing Minister Dennis Kelman, who says assistance will be rendered to displaced residents through the Catastrophe Fund. Minister Kelman also says infrastructural work is needed in the surrounding area to allow for better drainage.
The tunnels under the bridge, they are too small, and they will have to solve that. And they will also have to do some work inland also to ensure that the flow is such that it flows freely and you would not get this situation that occurred here, where the blockage is at the bridge and it caused the water to back up and remove houses from off their props, etc.
As the cleanup efforts continue, residents are hoping that a permanent solution will finally put this 33-year-old problem to rest. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, there is news of Carifesta 13.
We listened to what you had to say and tore up the old rules, because losing what you paid for is just wrong. Now lost data and talk are a thing of the past. Only Digicel gives you unlimited rollover data and talk. Just buy and renew your Quick Pick bundle before it expires and keep what's rightfully yours. Never lose what you don't use. Go to My Digicel app to bundle up and roll over today. Digicel.
Enjoy the delicious fruity taste of La Fruta, fruit ice cream on a stick, for just $2 VAT inclusive. Get your mango, guava, and coconut flavors, now $1 less while stocks last. It's a big summer holiday special. La Fruta fruit ice cream, now only $2. Available at participating outlets island-wide, Byco Mobilers, and the Byco Direct Outlet on Harbor Road.
Excuse me, listen, I hear something about this comedy show. Wait, really is, wait is.
It's all about Carifesta 2017!
Peoples, it's the Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th at the Cigar Feet Sober Gymnasium.
Andrew, what is that in your bag? A cat. A what? A cat. You bring a cat in my house? Well, Daddy, take it back to your mother, please.
No, Daddy, I can't do that. Don't make me do that, please, Daddy.
Why?
I hear Uncle Ralph tell Mommy go eat it when he come back.
The Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th, Cigar Feet Sober Gymnasium, people. Get your tickets from official box offices only.
The opening of Carifesta 13 slated for tonight has been postponed. Shane Jones is live at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, where many of the events are expected to take place, including the Grand Market. Shane, what's going on there?
Thank you, Lisa, and good night to everyone. Well, I can tell you that Carifesta 13 is here and it's on. And I can tell you, Lisa, today the news cycle, the entire news cycle was dominated by the passing of Tropical Storm Harvey. But it's passed now and we're thankful for that. And that means that Carifesta 13 is in full swing. When we got to the LESC this afternoon and we were setting up, we could see various delegates coming in and they were bringing their arts and their craft. And you can see all the different things from the different regions. And one of the things that was clear and plain that we could hear is that all the different variant accents from around the region, which tells you that Carifesta is here. We can feel the buzz, we can feel the spirit of Carifesta, and it's truly here. We saw everyone going through their paces. I saw the models going through their paces, and I can tell you they look pretty good, and everything is ready. With me now is the Honourable Stephen Lashley, the Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth. Minister Lashley, good evening.
Good evening, and certainly good evening to our viewers as well.
Okay, there's some changes.
Of course, yes, of course, with the passing of the storm, we've had to reschedule the opening ceremony in particular, and of course that will now take place on Sunday. Of course, the opening ceremony is a key highlight to the Carifesta events. Sunday the 20th, we'll be having the ceremony beginning at 5:30. The pre-show will begin at 4:30, and of course we want to encourage Barbadians and visitors alike to line the streets. We will have that very exciting and important parade from Queen's Park. 27 Caribbean countries lining the route, displaying their cultural brilliance in all of its fashions, and that would start from Queen's Park at 3:30. And we want to encourage Barbadians to line the route for that. The route, of course, will move from the Queen's Park, Nelson Gates and Michael's Row, Broad Street, Jubilee Gardens, General Post Office, Fontebelle, on to Kensington Oval. A word to parents. We know that many of our young people, young children will be participating in that particular opening ceremony, and what we're doing is that parents and guardians of young performers, we will be accommodating them, and they'll be permitted free entry into Kensington Oval. So ensure that you get your young charges to Kensington, and of course you should contact the main coordinator, Alison C.D. Smith, for the tickets for parents and guardians of young performers. The Rock Hall Living Museum at St. Thomas, that is being rescheduled. It was due to be held on Sunday. That will now be held next Sunday, August 27th. And of course, we are expecting that to be one of the highlights of Carifesta. The museum, the actual monument at Rock Hall, and our residents there will be participating in that particular event. The Grand Market here at the LESC will start in earnest tomorrow morning from 10 a.m. and goes right up to 10 p.m. And of course the opening of the Grand Market will occur here at 12 noon. So those persons who want to be a part of this historic moment with the opening of the Grand Market, and of course our focus in terms of Carifesta, for the first time we are focusing on the creative industries, the culture industries, and of course there will be many buyers in Barbados to see what the Caribbean has on offer. And the strategic plank of this is that we are looking to leverage Carifesta in a complete different light. The Grand Market will see a number of international buyers here to view what the Caribbean has to offer with a view to securing markets for our goods. The film festival at the Olympus VIP will also start on schedule tomorrow, so those persons who are interested in film, there are a number of brilliant production pieces from the entire Caribbean region will be on offer at the Olympus, and certainly you should go and get your tickets and really line up your movies. You can go online and see what's offering, but that is going to be a very, very exciting display of film. Generally, of course, there are very minimal changes to the Carifesta calendar, but you can go online at www.carifesta.net and see those changes. We already have a number of delegates here in Barbados. As you said, Shane, the buzz is here, but there are some delegates that are still here. The weather system did have an impact on arrivals, but we're hoping that most of our guests will be assembling here for Carifesta. Carry Festa, of course, actually begins this evening because there are a number of events planned for Oistins. Of course, you know, Friday evening is a major happening at Oistins. Persons go out there and get their fish and the food. But amidst all of that will be Carry Festa, because we'll be having the Swanky Kitchen Band from the Cayman Islands and Grupos Madeiras from Venezuela. They are going to be starting their performance at Oistins at 9 p.m. Bay Street, a major hub. That will be the place where most of the fringe events also will take place at Bay Street. But tomorrow night at 7, we will have, of course, Bay Street opening, and there are several performers. I believe you're going to have Arturo and a number of other performers tomorrow at Bay Street. And, of course, the Youth Village, where our young people will be taking part in a number of very interesting and phenomenal creative activities. They will be opening the Youth Village tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Barbados Community College. And most importantly, one of the events I want to mention, the Cultural Policy and Intellectual Property Workshop, which takes place on Sunday, August the 20th at the Cayfield School of Business. That is still on. So those persons who are interested in that particular workshop, it will take place on Sunday at the UE School of Business from 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. And of course, because it occurs on the same evening as the opening ceremony, transportation will be provided for persons to take you directly to Kensington Oval, so you're part of the phenomenal beginning of Carry Festa 13.
Okay, wonderful. So everything is still on schedule.
Everything is on schedule.
Still.
Very minimal disruption to the program, and of course, I want to encourage all of you to come out and be a part of the opening ceremony. It has been rescheduled, but everything is still intact. Your tickets, everything will be honored. Come out and be a part of this historic event.
Thank you so much, Minister Lashley, for bringing us up to date. So
You're
there
welcome.
you have it, Lisa. Everything on board and up to date for Carry Festa 13. Let the fun begin. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Shane. Well, meanwhile, as you just heard from Minister Lashley, the Carry Festa Youth Village, which was expected to start today, has been rescheduled to tomorrow morning at the Barbados Community College at 9 a.m. The village will be open from 9 until 6:30 at BCC, and it will feature workshops in the arts, panel discussions on social and cultural issues, and daily youth showcases. It's open to the youth aged 6 to 35 and is absolutely free. It will climax with a multi-arts showcase on the evening of the 25th at the Queen's Park Steel Shed. After this break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across the region, so stay tuned.
Attention! No six, no songs can break my bones when I'm drinking.
Pine Hill Milk.
The Insurance Corporation of Barbados Limited wishes to advise our valued clients that our Speightstown branch will be opened on Saturday, August 19th, 2017 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to facilitate claims resulting from Tropical Storm Harvey. Please call 434-6010 to make all reports. Operating hours for all other branches remain as usual. ICBL, always there when you need us most.
In Port of Spain, there may soon be some resolution to the 53-part heard matters left behind when the Chief Magistrate Marcia Ayers Caesar was promoted. The government says it will approach the court and ask that it makes a determination.
The institution at the heart of the Marcia Ayers Caesar debacle will be asked to make a determination on the resulting consequences. When Marcia Ayers Caesar was promoted to the High Court bench and subsequently resigned, she left 53 part-heard matters in limbo. But based on advice from senior counsel, Cabinet has agreed to approach the court and file what is called an interpretation summons.
We are going to place the facts before the judiciary as well as the laws that exist and ask the judiciary to determine a way forward for a matter that is squarely within the remit of the judiciary.
Minister Young says the government is going this route because the opposition has indicated it will not support legislative changes to remedy the situation. Minister Young says an added benefit is that all stakeholders, including the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Judicial and Legal Service Commission and others, can put forward their arguments and let the court ultimately decide.
We expect and we hope that everyone will participate with the judiciary who will have management of this matter in having it dealt with as expeditiously as possible. The judiciary is in control and will be in control of these proceedings, and we expect that all parties involved would do what is best for those persons who are directly affected.
During a meeting between the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar had referred Dr. Rowley to provisions in Section 137 of the Constitution that speak to the establishment of a tribunal to investigate matters related to the judiciary.
That tribunal is really for disciplinary matters, impeachment matters, etc. And that's not what occurs here or arises here.
Minister Young could not say how long this matter will take to be resolved. He says any time limits will depend on the court's procedures. He says the matter can go all the way to the Privy Council, but he says there have been similar cases that have been resolved in about 5 months.
In Guyana, Traffic Chief Dion Moore says an increased presence of traffic police on the country's roads has seen a drastic reduction in the number of people being charged for driving under the influence of alcohol. Javon Vickery has more.
A campaign launched by the Traffic Department several months ago has resulted in more than 500 litigations for driving under the influence of alcohol. This enforcement drive also featured an increased number of traffic ranks in the streets at night. The traffic chief perceives that drivers have recently been more conscious, especially with more intense breathalyzer testing at locations such as creeks on the Linden Highway and at bars across the city.
Let's take, for example, in a given 15-20 vehicle, you might barely find 1 or 2 above the limit. A lot of persons are using designated drivers is one. A lot of the males are using their spouse to drive. Most of the spouse is not under the influence of alcohol. Even to those coming down the east bank of the creek, you find a lot of female driving, while you will find that males are in the vehicle, appears to be under the influence of alcohol. The female are the drivers.
The evidence of this was substantiated when the department recorded an over 10% decrease in the number of persons being charged for DUI compared with the end of July last year. Across the country, there are more than 200 traffic ranks. Moore said that there is a need for more traffic ranks.
It is not enough. We still need, and the force administration is something they're addressing in terms of its capacity building, and to have more, not just traffic ranks, but ranks in the Guyana Police Force.
The traffic chief added that complaints are increasingly being raised by persons in residential areas about speeding minibuses. This trend has come under the microscope of his ranks, he said. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
The National Network for the Defense of Human Rights in Haiti has called for an investigation into the escape from prison of 3 men, including a suspected gang leader allegedly involved in at least 24 kidnappings and an attack on the presidential motorcade earlier this year. The network said the 3 men, including a Bahamian who is wanted in the United States on murder charges, could only have escaped with the assistance from inside. The authorities say the men, including a suspected gang leader, Berger Milo, escaped from a cell at the Office for the Fight Against Narcotics Trafficking while they were being guarded by armed police officers, including an inspector. The authorities have since announced a reward of 3 million gourds for information leading to the arrest of the men. Over to Jamaica now. A prominent medical practitioner will reappear in court on August 22nd for sentencing after he was found guilty on Thursday of attempting to pervert the course of justice in a case dating back to 2014. Justice Simone Wolfe-Rees handed down the verdict in the St. Andrew Parish Court after she said she did not believe Dr. Jephthah Ford, who was charged in 2014 following allegations that he attempted to bribe a member of the Revenue Protection Division to release 2 Surinamese nationals who were arrested by the agency. Roisin Daniels and Mervyn Rengold were held after police intercepted a motor vehicle and found just over $500,000 US and 1.3 million Jamaica dollars. The officer, who was wearing a covert video and audio camera, met with the doctor, who said he had asked for the case against the men to be dismissed and confiscated funds returned in exchange for 25% of the money, but later agreed to give him 40% of the sum. We'll give you a peek into the world of sports in just a moment, but before we get to that, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.